Hello, my name is Fanu Mtumburi and I'm the Business and Operations Director here at the Ipswich and Suffolk Council for Racial Equality. The film you're about to watch is part of a project that ISCRE have been running in conjunction with the Ipswich and East Suffolk Clinical Commissioning Group called the BME Dementia Carers Pilot. The project aims to engage, support and encourage individuals, families and friends who care for loved ones with dementia and who are worried about dementia in their family to seek out help from local services and community organizations.
Hello, I'm Sushil Soni. I'm the Vice Chairman, Secretary and Manager of the Ipswich Hindu Samaj. I would like to welcome to you on this film, Caring for the Loved One Suffering with Dementia. This film is in 3 parts. In the first section, we'll find out what causes dementia and how it can affect a person. We'll look at the diagnosis and where to go for help. Lastly, we will try to find out the benefits of early diagnosis of dementia.
Dementia is a degenerative brain disorder which is progressive, which particularly affects older people.
Dementia is sort of like an umbrella term for lots of different types of dementia. There are a number of different types, but the most common one that people will hear about is Alzheimer's disease.
Alzheimer's disease is a form of dementia. About 50% of dementia sufferers suffer from Alzheimer's disease.
There are all sorts of others, and some less common and some quite rare.
I cared for my wife, late wife, for on full-time basis for 8 years. Unfortunately, she got Alzheimer's when she was about 46.
Dementia can affect all ages. The youngest person I've worked with has been in their late 40s.
Well, the main thing most people know about is that it affects your short-term memory. That's usually one of the first things to be affected. But it does affect other things as well. It can affect what we call cognition, which is your ability to know how to do things.
Dementia will affect somebody's thought process so that they can't sequence properly. So they may be able to boil the kettle for a cup of tea, but they might not remember to put the tea bag in. And all they need is a little prompt to say, well, don't forget to put the tea bag in, or here you go, here's the tea bag. So it's not a case of treating them as if they can't actually do something. It's supporting them so that they can do.
And some people go back into the past and withdraw into the past life, and it's sort of going back with them and talking to them about things that happened in the past. And quite often that's very good therapy for people with dementia, and remembering, because they have difficulty in remembering things that have happened 5 minutes ago. Whereas they may remember things that have happened in the past, a long time ago, which they're used to. And quite often you can keep people active by doing the things that they've always done in the past, such as hobbies and things like that. But they would need prompting and support to do that. And stimulation and activities are a very important part of helping people live well with dementia, make them still feel part of the community.
She used to forget about her hairdressing appointment, and things like that. Or in her cooking, she will put extra salt or something. But she was quite clever. Every time we mentioned something, saying, well, it's too salty, she said, well, I was just wondering whether you will pick it up or not.
You see a pattern, like somebody may go to the shops and forget what they're buying, or can't find their way home again. Now, if that happens on several occasions, I think that's when you need to look at it and maybe try and encourage that person to go and see somebody.
I think she knew there was something wrong, but she didn't want to tell anyone that there was something wrong with her. I think she was too scared of saying, and I think she was in fear of what lies ahead. I think she didn't really know.
If people want to know about dementia, we have a very simple booklet which gives you 5 simple things about dementia, and it also gives you examples of different people's experience of it. And it's called 5 Things You Should Know About Dementia. And if anyone would like a copy, they'd get in touch with us. They're readily available, and it's quite a good introduction to what dementia is if people have no understanding of it and what it means.
If you're concerned about somebody, a family member or a friend, the best thing you can do is talk to them and listen to what they're saying, and try and encourage them to go to see the GP.
Try to get them involved, try to get them to understand your concerns, and then make an appointment with your GP. And it would be very helpful if you turned up to that appointment as well, so that you could help give the GP some history around your concerns.
That often is the first big step, and quite often people are reluctant to do that initially. That person will know that something isn't quite right, but they won't always acknowledge it, or they'll be afraid to actually talk about it. And sometimes they just need that encouragement to talk about it and actually face up to what's happening.
Often in the very early stages of dementia, a sufferer may well be able to talk around and hide some of their symptoms and some of their thoughts. They understand that there are gaps in their memory, and they will fill those in with over-talking, what we call confabulating, and they can actually put on a very good performance for somebody who doesn't know them very well.
They'll try and convince outside, people that don't know them that well, that they are perfectly happy and they are coping perfectly well, whereas inside you know that they're terrified. They know things are changing, they know that they're not doing the things that they normally would have done.
We may suggest to you that you actually ring the doctor up and say, can I talk to you separately, or make an appointment for yourself to go and talk to the doctor and explain to you why you're worried.
With the carer coming in as well to the consultation, that gives the GP what we call a collateral history. So it allows the GP to understand a little bit about, what's been going on at home. Okay, you're answering my questions, okay, but give me an example of some of the things that may have been happening at home. For example, leaving the cooker on, for example, not paying bills, leaving food in the fridge too long, etc., etc. Some of these things that have affected daily life. It just helps to give that bit of history as well to go along. So don't let that be a barrier. What kind of reception will I get from my GP? Will they just say, oh, this is just you getting older, don't worry? And I think certainly in the past, I think some GPs have been guilty of doing that, and there has been some research on why GPs put up those barriers. Some of the times it appears to be lack of their knowledge of the subject, and some of the times it's lack of knowledge of what can be done.
If you're not satisfied with what the GP is saying to you, or you feel that they haven't taken your concerns into account, and that you don't feel reassured by what they've said, then you need to go back and either speak to the GP again, that same GP, or go to somebody else, go to another GP, and go to a GP that you feel comfortable with, who you can talk to.
I think it has been true in the past, there has been a knowledge gap or perhaps some barriers put up, but we are slowly breaking those down, and I am confident moving forward that they will no longer be there. Currently, as we stand, there is no cure for dementia. However, that doesn't mean it's not a good reason to understand more about the disorder and to get diagnosed, because there are things that can help once a diagnosis has been made.
Once you've got a diagnosis, if you've got a clear diagnosis, you can get proper help.
By diagnosing your dementia, you will have a better idea about your ability to live independently and to be able to plan for you and your loved ones over a period of time.
But even if there is a problem and they do get diagnosed with dementia, there's lots of things we can do if they're diagnosed early enough to help them live a better quality of life and live better longer with dementia.
It's nobody's fault that that person's got dementia. It's a condition. But you'd be surprised how many families feel guilty because they think they've caused dementia, or that there's something that they've said or done that's made that person behave the way they behave. And then when you get the diagnosis, they think, well, oh, okay, it's not what I've said or done, or it's not the fact that I'm working full time and I can't see them as much as I'd like to. There's a real reason for the way they are.
Caring for a member of a family who is suffering from dementia is a 24-hour job. You may feel lonely and you may feel that you are unable to get any help. This part of the film will show you how you can seek help from various bodies that are available to help you.
My role at Suffolk Family Carers is Inclusion Lead, which is a fantastic role, and I love my job, and it means I'm out and about a lot. I go to various luncheon clubs across the county. I might attend the Indian Mela or the Multicultural Day, the Bangladeshi Support Centre, groups, drop-ins, events, and I really enjoy meeting people in the communities, helping them to understand that it's okay to sometimes ask for help, that you're finding it a struggle to look after the person that you're looking after.
It's really easy when you start looking after somebody to feel like you can and will do absolutely everything for them, and to feel guilty if you suddenly feel like you're tired or you're not doing the best job. It's really important not to feel that and to use support where you can. And people with dementia sometimes want a break from carers as well.
I think you will always feel guilty that you're not doing enough, but there's no point in feeling guilty, because what you have to do is your best you can. Get help as much as you can.
You shouldn't feel guilty about going to ask for help or looking for support, and making sure that the person you look after's needs are met, but not necessarily by you all the time.
The Suffolk Dementia Partnership consists of a partnership between local voluntary organisations supporting people with dementia, and they are Age UK Suffolk, Suffolk Family Carers, Sue Ryder and the Alzheimer's Society. And we basically decided ourselves that we needed to form a partnership because we're all supporting people with dementia in a variety of different ways, and sometimes our services can overlap. And also hearing from people with dementia themselves and their family carers, they can get very confused by who's out there providing support, and it would make sense if there was a partnership working together.
The Suffolk Dementia Helpline is a service that's open to anyone in Suffolk who's concerned about dementia or has a diagnosis. We offer information, signposting to other organisations, and also emotional support, and the line's completely confidential. When you call the helpline, you'll be speaking to a trained member of staff or a volunteer, somebody who is equipped with information that they can offer you and who's also there to listen to you and talk things through. Sometimes people may feel that it's not easy to share their emotions or how they feel about dementia or possible concerns for health with those around them, and they know the helpline is completely confidential and you can share anything and know that's going to be listened to and respected.
The Alzheimer's Society provide a range of support services for people living in Suffolk. That can be by one of our support workers, such as myself. We can provide information to people, and we can do that either over the telephone, via email, but we can also do home visits to people or meet them within a location that's going to be comfortable for them. The information that we can provide can be information on dementia specific, so for people to understand what dementia means for them. But it can also be information on practical things, so where they can look at getting support at home if that's needed, or financial assistance, so looking at applying for the correct benefits, and also looking at signposting them to the right organisation so they can get the right support to live well.
I basically work with people in the community who have a diagnosis of dementia, and basically our role is to go out and offer advice and guidance to the person and their carers or to the family, to help them remain independent in the community.
We work on the confidential information line that family carers can call. We have a number of referrals. It can be from various organisations such as social services, health contacts, charitable organisations, but we certainly welcome calls from family carers themselves. We have regular contact with family carers who are looking after somebody either with an undiagnosed memory problem, or they could have dementia. And family carers often call us because they notice the situation, they don't know where to turn, and we can just be here to listen.
If and when you're thinking you may need support with the person you're looking after, it's really important to make sure that as much of them is maintained and visible for people that are looking after them. So their history, their preferences, who they are, what they like, what they need in terms of diet or religious observance, or just their preferences are written down in a way that can make sure the services they get fit them better, so that they don't lose their individuality.
The Alzheimer's Society provides support to anybody living in Suffolk, for the person that's living with dementia and their carers. We're aware that everybody's journey of dementia is going to be very different, and we look at trying to meet the individual needs of that person and their carer.
At the council, we want you to phone if you need help from us, and in order to make that happen, even if English is not your first language, we can arrange for an interpreter to be available to you, and somebody who speaks your language will phone you back.
We will work with families from every culture across Suffolk, and we realise that Suffolk's a really diverse county now, and that there's lots of things that go into building a family life and what's important to their family. That can include traditions, beliefs, stigma. Maybe dementia is something that's really not talked about in your community, and we can guarantee that when you speak to us, we'll be that listening ear that won't judge, that won't talk about you once you've left, and really help you to feel comfortable to continue providing that care for the person that you love and look after in the way that suits you and what's important to you and the person you look after.
Looking after a member of your family is a 24-hour job, but it is also vitally important that you be looked after as well. In this part of the film, we will tell you where to look for help.
The definition of the word synergy is a meaning of coming together, and that's really what we're about. There's a great array of support that's out there in the community, but it's about us bringing it here so that we can then support the carer and the cared for to find out about whatever they need. We don't want to focus on dementia, but we know that that's why people come here, and that's the primary reason why we're here. The carers deal 24/7, and we're very aware of, in their time that they come to us, that there may be a short period of time that we can alleviate that. So the cared for would actually go off and maybe do an activity if they wanted to, and the carer then gets that hot cup of tea and a chat on their own. To access any of the Synergy cafes, it's a very simple process. It's just come along. We're non-judgmental. Nobody has to pretend to be anything that they're not. It's about coming along, making friends, finding out information that you may not need today, but will become useful to you at some point. It's about knowing that you're not the only person that feels the way you feel. And the frustration and the guilt are quite natural feelings to have, but come and talk them out. We make fantastic cups of tea, we've got great ears, and we hope that we provide a great environment.
As a charity throughout Suffolk, we do have family carer groups that you'd be very welcome to come to meet us and meet other family carers, and they may well be going through very similar situations to yourself.
We also run and facilitate support groups, so dementia support worker. We run various different groups in and around Suffolk. Some are for people that are living with dementia, some are for the carers of that person, and some of the groups are for both the person living with dementia and also their carer. The support groups are a safe and secure environment for people that are living with dementia and the person that's supporting them, so they can come along and share experiences, give practical tips and advice on the difficulties they may have experienced along that journey. But there's also a dementia support worker like myself there to also be able to provide additional support, in addition to the peer support that you would get from a support group.
For a lot of people, that's what we do. We look after the people that we love. We look after our friends and our neighbours. That's all part of community life. But we mustn't forget ourselves. And I think for lots of family carers, they forget their own life. They forget the importance of looking after their own health and well-being.
Depending on how much your caring role impacts on your life, whether you're caring full-time, whether you're caring just for a few hours a week, that will determine how much funding we're able to give you towards increasing your quality of life so that you're doing something to look after yourself. So things like the gym, it might be a gym membership, it might be actually asking somebody within your community for a small amount of money to maybe sit and just look after the person you're caring for, to free you up to go and shop on your own, or whatever it is. It's fairly free. How you use that money is up to you.
What us as an organisation can offer is activities, or if they want to learn something, or if they need to learn new skills, then we can offer that. Looking into learning how to better their English skills, or just to learn how to speak English. We do have loads of different ISCRE classes, so that will be from entry level to level 2. We do have sessions as well on how to use computers, so that's really basic one.